la salsa con Salsa y José Mazo. Y sigue la salsa con Salsa y José Mazo. Y sigue la salsa con Salsa y José Mazo.
Bueno, mi gente, bienvenidos a otra edición del programa Con Salsa en vivo por Facebook y YouTube, comenzando la temporada de otoño 2025. Hace un tiempito que no estamos con ustedes, aunque continuamos en la radio todos los sábados por la noche, en la emisora WBOR 90.9 FM Telefónico, radiodifusión pública en la ciudad de Boston. 50 años de patria y cultura, entrando en el capítulo 51 de programación. Gracias a cada uno de ustedes por ser parte de la familia Con Salsa. I was just saying in English, in Spanish, now I'm going to say it in English. Welcome to today's edition of Con Salsa Live on Facebook and YouTube. Please share this with your friends so that they can join us. We have a very special program kicking off the fall season of Con Salsa Facebook Live. And this will be program number 188. We continue doing radio every Saturday night on WBUR 90.9 FM, National Public Radio in Boston. We've been doing it for 50 years. We celebrated our anniversary this past June 22nd. And we're now in the chapter called number 51 of programming. And you can hear Con Salsa at your leisure. Go to wbr.org/Con Salsa, and you can hear the archives of the 5 hours of last night's program whenever you want throughout the week for 7 days. But today we have a very special program. It's all around the one and only Paquito D'Rivera, known as the Pac-Man, the great saxophone player and clarinetist from Cuba, who now resides in the United States. There's a new film about him titled From Carne y Frijol to Carnegie. He'll be having his Boston debut during the CineFest Latino Festival coming up this month of September. So we will have him as our special guest. And we will also have Juan Mandelbaum, who's the writer, producer, and director of this film from Geovision. Our dear friend will be joining us as well. And Sabrina Aviles, who directs the CineFest Latino Boston. She'll be joining us during this hour as well. So we've got 3 guests, great conversations, some great music, and all of you being part of this. I look forward to you joining us. Again, share it with your friends. Let them know that we're live. We haven't done it for a while, so this is the first one for the season. We're back, and I hope that you'll be enjoying what we've got for you. But let's start off with some music. I think you're going to enjoy this one. This is a chance for you to understand Paquito D'Rivera at his very best with the one and only Dizzy Gillespie and United Nations Orchestra, recorded live at the Royal Festival Hall in London. The selection titled Ting Ting Dale. Enjoy.
Un jeu.
sounds of Yo Motor on the Cuatro, the late Georgie Gonzalez on bongo, the late Rafi Lizari on timbales, Bobby Allende on tumbadora, Sangre Boricua. We just heard a classic by the great, the one and only Dizzy Gillespie. Recorded live in London back in 1989. As a matter of fact, the date was June 10th at the Royal Festival Hall. Dizzy Gillespie and the United Nations Orchestra. You heard Dizzy on trumpet. Arturo Sandoval was on the saxophone. The great Steve Turre on trombone, along with Slide Hampton. What an orchestra that was. And included Danilo Perez, by the way, on piano. I had the honor of emceeing their performance for the Boston Globe Jazz Festival at the Orpheum Theater. Not the Orpheum, it was what's now the Cutler Theater in downtown Boston back in the 1980s when they were touring the United States, and they performed for the Boston Globe Jazz Festival. So there you heard Paquito D'Rivera, who's our special guest. You'll be hearing him and seeing him momentarily. Saludos, Aida Franquis. Gracias por estar con nosotros. David Cantrell, my brother. It's always good to hear from you. Thank you so much for all the great work you do. Mi tocayo, Jose Arroyo. Thank you. And Katie, always love the fact that you're tuning in. Norma González, saludos y feliz domingo. Manuel Castillo Freites, saludos para ti, mi hermano Boricua. Como siempre, gracias por ser parte de la familia con salsa. Compartan, por favor, con sus amistades que estamos en vivo en Facebook y YouTube. YouTube, mi canal, José Mazo. En Facebook, @ con salsa José Mazo. Es el enlace para que compartan con sus amistades y sean parte de la conversación esta tarde con Paquito D'Rivera, Juan Mandelbaum y también Sabrina Aviles. So please share this with your friends so that they can be part of the conversation this afternoon with our very special guest, Paquito D'Rivera, renowned saxophonist and clarinetist from Cuba, a founding member of the group Iraquere, and of course, one of the luminaries when it comes to music 360 degrees, not just jazz, not just Latin jazz, not just classical, every form of music style, he's able to share it with you. And we're excited because we will have him not only talking about his life, but also talking about this film, from Carne y Frijol, from Meat and Beans to Carnegie Hall. He'll have his Boston premiere as part of CineFest Latino Festival taking place during the month of September. And speaking about the month of September, next weekend, we'll be celebrating a number of things because it is the beginning of Latino Heritage Month here in the city of Boston. And one of the ways we're going to be celebrating are the 50 years of Con Salsa. And the Latino Heritage Month will have, first and foremost, Salsa al Atardecer, Salsa at Sunset, Javier Timbalen and his Timbales band will be performing, brought to you by Iba and Inquilinos Boricuas en Acción. That'll be at the Villa Victoria, Plaza Betances in the South End on West Dedham Street. That'll be in the evening. You'll be able to dance outdoors as the sun sets. And then Friday, we're going to go to East Boston for the East Boston Latin Music and Dance Festival. It's the fourth year that we'll be doing this. I have the honor of co-hosting that with Johnny Giraldo. It's brought to you by Zoomix, also Veronica Robles Cultural Center, Senator Lydia Edwards in the city of Boston. So look forward to seeing you there. It'll be live music, food, kiosk, a little bit of everything for you. And it's family friendly. And then Saturday, we'll be celebrating the second annual Embrace My Soul con Salsa International Music Festival, brought to you by Embrace Boston. It'll be right downtown at the Boston Common near the Embrace Monument, honoring the late Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and his wife, Coretta Scott King. We will have music, we'll have dance, we'll have poetry, we'll have games, we'll have family-friendly activities, we'll have food, we'll have kiosks, we'll have information, and it's all in solidarity for Latino Heritage Month. It's one rhythm, one community. Un solo ritmo, una sola comunidad es el lema para este año, celebrando el comienzo del mes de la herencia latina aquí en la ciudad de Boston. Jueves, viernes, sábado, y el domingo, Sunday, we will be at the Cambridge Salsa in the Park, brought to you by Meta Movement, so you'll be able to dance some more. There'll be a lot of dancing. On Saturday, we have the Spanish Harlem Orchestra as our headliners. We have Jonathan Suazo and his Latin jazz. Jonathan Suazo, graduate of Berklee College of Music. His father is Dominican. His mother is Puerto Rican. He's a proud Afro-Puerto Rican Dominican, and he will be performing his saxophone along with this great band. Some new music he'll be sharing with us as well. And we will have Aja Monet, the great spoken word artist, will be making her debut here in the city of Boston. This is the first time she's ever performed in Boston, so I'm looking forward to her joining us for this festival, the second annual Embrace My Soul con Salsa International Music Festival. She'll be accompanied by her jazz band, and she is a gifted spoken word artist. Wait till you see her perform. Don't miss her. You've got to be there so you can say, I was there for the first performance of Aja Monet in the city of Boston. at the Embrace Masoko Salsa International Music Festival on September 13th at the Boston Common. And she is, her father is Jamaican, her mother's Afro-Cuban, so another proud Afro-descendant. And of course, the Spanish Harlem Orchestra will conclude the night with some dancing as well. And we got the Salsa Control dance troupe. They will be performing and giving us instructions as far as dancing salsa, and all of you will be invited to dance with them. Meta Movements will do the same thing, and Bombantillano will do the same thing. And so there's going to be a lot of dancing. Bring your dancing shoes. I'm going to see a lot of dancers out there. We're dedicated to the memory of the great Eddie Palmieri, who was our first recipient of the Drum Major for Justice Award last year. And we're dedicating this year's festival in his honor. He passed away on August 6th of this year at the young age of 88. May he rest in peace, love, and power. Let's hear some more music. Here's Paquito D'Rivera, Chucho Valdez, Pac-Man. Mm, 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 mm. Damn, as they say, ño, como dicen los cubanos, ño. That was Paquito Rivera on saxophone. And you heard on piano the one and only Chucho Valdez. Diego Urcola was on the trumpet and bow trombone. Daphne Prieto was killing it on drums. I don't know how he does that. His two hands and his 2 feet are just playing like if there's 4 drummers performing on the trap set. And then on bass, you had Jose Gola. And on percussion, I saw him for the first time this Friday playing with Arturo Sandoval, who performed at Scholars Jazz Club with his band. And his name is Roberto Jr. Vizcaino. This guy is a monster on percussion. You heard him there complimenting the band and just keeping it, oh my God. Pac-Man, written by Hilario Duran, the Cuban pianist who lives in Canada, who has recorded with Jane Bunnett and, of course, with Chucho Valdez, and himself has a number of solo albums. Another great musician that comes from the School of Music from the island of Cuba. Bueno, mi gente, escuchamos Pac-Man, canción escrita por el pianista cubano Hilario Duran. Viene de la propuesta musical titulada I Miss You Too, ganador de un Grammy, pianista Chucho Valdez junto a Paquito Rivera, ambos miembros fundadores del gran grupo icónico, el legendario Iraquere de Cuba, y acompañados por Diego Urcola en el trombón, también Daphne Prieto haciendo un tremendo trabajo en la batería, como también José Galá en el bajo, y escuchamos a Roberto Jr. Vizcaino en la tumbadora, tremendo percusionista. Lo escuchamos por primera vez en vivo el viernes pasado, ahora este fin de semana con Arturo Sandoval, el trompetista cubano en Scholars Jazz Club. Tremendo talento, Roberto Jr. Vizcaino, que es parte del grupo también de Chucho Valdez. Pero de cualquier manera, let's welcome 2 of our guests for this afternoon's program, un conversatorio with 2 dear friends. I'm going to add them to the stage. Will you please welcome a big round of applause out there, ladies and gentlemen, for Sabrina Aviles, CineFest Latino Boston, a dear friend, and also Juan Mandelbaum, who is the writer, the producer, and director of this new film that we will be seeing for the first time at the CineFest and the Latino Festival taking place this month of September. It's titled From Carne y Frijol to Carnegie Hall, Paquito D'Rivera. Bueno, bienvenidos Sabrina y Juan, qué alegría que estén conmigo esta tarde. Qué feliz me siento teniendo 2 grandes amistades, my 2 dear friends. I feel like I'm in heaven. 2 of my dearest friends are in the same place at the same time with me, not in person, but we're all together in community. Sabrina, welcome, and Juan, welcome as well.
Gracias.
So I figured we start off with some music. You heard it there. I have to go to Juan because he's been, traveling with Paquito to make this film happen. When you were listening to Paquito and Dizzy Gillespie and Tintindale, I know it brought memories of you in the film you did of Paquito. And then when you heard Pac-Man, of course, it really brought some memories of the film that you've been doing on Paquito. Tell me your first impressions before we deep dive into the film festival and the film.
Well, first of all, congratulations to you, Jose, for these 50 years of Con Salsa and for being who you are. Because for me, you are like the ambassador of the Latino community in Boston. And for all these years I've known you, I've admired you tremendously.
Thank you.
So
That means a
that's for
lot to me. And
starters.
thank you. Thank you so much. You're part of that Constanza family for 50 years. So you're part of this journey. So I thank you for
Yeah.
being part of it. Thank you so much.
And also wonderful to be here with Sabrina, who we've also been friends for a very long time. And I'm thrilled that this film is having its world premiere at CineFest, no, Latino Boston, this film festival, that it's really starting at home. So, um, yeah, this has been quite a journey, 5 years in the making. It started as a labor of love,
Mm,
um, because I saw that a lot of the documentaries that were being done about the Latino community were about really serious and heavy social issues. And I said, well, but there's also this whole other part, that is so vital and so creative. And I had this idea. I mean, I've admired Paquito's music for so long, and I saw him perform, a few times. And what I saw is at the end of the concert, everybody left with a smile, and this feeling of joy that he brings. And so I commented with a friend of mine, with Fernando Gonzalez, who's a great, jazz critic. And and in winter I go to Uruguay, and Paquito was the musical director of the, Punta del Este International Jazz Festival. So he made the introduction, and that's how it all started in January of 2020. And I met Paquito and, just told him that I wanted to make a film, and I didn't have any money. I didn't have any funding, but that's how you start sometimes.
You start with the
And
idea. You start
and
with
he
the
was game
vision,
for
the
it.
idea, and then
He,
let the money come.
he
Yeah.
didn't know what he was in for, really, but he was game, and that's how it started. And and then over the years, I filmed them in a number of other places, again in Punta del Este, also performing in Punta del Este with some of those musicians. Diego Cola is in there too. And then, it was so lucky because things started happening, like the reunion with, Chucho Valdez, which we filmed also in Miami, which was a huge, huge concert. The concert that he wrote for Yo-Yo Ma. So we recorded that at Wolf Trap. And also, eventually, I got to interview Yo-Yo talking about all of this too. Um, and so, little by little, and putting together, finding archival, like him playing with Dizzy Gillespie in the United Nations Orchestra, the wonderful footage. Um, and, gradually we sort of became closer also, and I think he got more into it, into the project. And so that's how we got to this. And I also have to say that um, then I started getting some support from Latino Public Broadcasting, which is
Mm,
one of these minority consortia that were funded by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting. And they first gave me an R&D grant, and then a production grant, and then a post-production grant. And they've been so supportive. And it's so tragic because films like this will not be made anymore because they've taken away all the funding for these kinds of films.
that's one of the reasons when you reached out to me, Juan, and thank you for sharing that. One of the reasons I quickly embraced this idea was because of the current political, social, cultural climate that we're living in under the new administration that's in the White House and the federal government, in which they're trying to erase anything and everything that has to do with just anybody who is not a white national Christian, right? And male. And so, therefore, the fact that you were able to do this and it took 5 years and you had this kind of support, where would we be if we did not have that kind of support? So that
Yeah,
our voices, our faces, our stories, our narrative could be part of the American story. Because this is very much an American story, which we will dig in
absolutely.
with Paquito later. But where would we be? And so while we're sharing this with the audience, this is a call for those of you who are watching. We need to be there's a saying that I like to use, and I hope you take this in the right way. It's over here where I say the following: the problem is not that people are uneducated. The problem is that they are educated just enough to believe what they've been taught and not educated enough to question what they've been taught. So what
Hmm.
I'm sharing with you when I put that out there, my audience, is you need to ask the right question and use the literacy that you receive so that you can galvanize others to actively participate in ways that you will say, no, this is not the direction we want this country to go, at
Yeah,
least from my perspective, when it comes to being inclusive, being diverse, and equity. And this is a perfect American story, what we will witness during the festival. But I digress, Sabrina, because I want you to lean in and tell us about the festival and how this film becomes part of the festival, Sabrina.
Thank you for bringing up that point because, first of all, thank you for having us. And yes, it is a full circle moment because I'm not gonna age myself, but I'm grateful to both of you because I got it. I started my career really because of both of you. So it's a for me, it's a full circle moment. It's a moment of eternal gratitude. And I'm only here because at one point both of you gave me an opportunity. So, and that's what community is about. And to Juan's point, when I first started directing the film festival, which was a different film festival than it is now, CineFest is only we're in our third year, fourth year. It always struck me that yeah, we were so focused, and that's not to say that the stories around immigration and the challenges that we have as a community should be taken lightly. Of course not. But I also know as a Latina that we're so much more than that. You know that we're resilient is overused, but we are.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
we're about family and celebration. And for me, also as an artist, as a flamenco dancer, I'm like in the festival, I want to have at least two or three films that celebrate who we are as artists. And so to me, when Juan said, I finished my film, and I thought, of course, we're going to premiere it. And of course, this is, again, this is my checking off the box about a story about a musician, albeit an immigrant, which is again the story that we're now telling. And the film festival for me, especially this year, in the press release, I'm always asked to write a little soundbite. It's now more important than ever for us. Because of the dismantling of CPB and the lack of
Hmm.
fundings, and LPB, Latino Public Broadcast, is at risk of being also dismantled because of the lack of funding now. So, but that doesn't mean that we're here. Like we're charged as filmmakers at film festivals, as distributors, to continue showcasing and telling our stories. Because
Hmm.
even though those stories want to be erased by the regime, we know that in fact we're here documenting and saving those stories because at some point this will be over, um, and that we'll have these stories that have documented our history and really the truth. So I just think that that was our focus when we curated the festivals this year. It's like how do we celebrate who we are, and also with a narrative. It's one of the narratives of the fact that as Latinos, we are part of this history.
Yes, we are.
Latino history is American history.
Yes, it is.
And so it's from you'll see that kind of underlying thread throughout the films and it talks about who we are, you know, in terms of contributing to history and contributing to the economy, and that, you know, going back to Shakespeare, if you cut us, do we not bleed? You know, so it's all about that. So I'm so glad you brought that up, because this is our way in of staying strong and celebrating who we are. And you know, we're now charged. We're now not charged, but we have this kind of black cloud now in September, which is the height of Hispanic Heritage Month, and now we have this risk of our communities being inundated by ice agents. So it's a really interesting, kind of a strange time, but I don't think about the Boston community, the Latino community, the African American community, any communities of color are hiding. I mean, we're going to go out there, and like when you listed all the things that were happening next weekend, ironically, I'm going to be in Chicago next weekend.
Well, you're going to be in Chicago, but we will be with you in solidarity. And trust me, we're doing this in solidarity because we are una comunidad. And speaking of which, just as a way of giving people background, listen to this. Of course, the one and only Bebo Valdez, may he rest in peace, and power on piano. Paquito D'Rivera, of course, on saxophone, con Poco Coco from the album Cuba Jazz. And so, Sabrina, when we go into the festival month of Latino Heritage Month, we then segue to films. Where will the films be shown, and when will they be shown?
So we always have, this is our second year where we do a kickoff screening, where we actually have a free screening, which is sponsored by the Boston Cultural Council, where we actually go to to a Latino community, because most of our venues are not in Latino communities. But I just wanted to start a tradition. So last year we were Chelsea. This year on the 18th we'll be at Zoomix, and presenting a series of shorts free and open to the public. So that's the unofficial start of the festival. The official start of the festival is on Wednesday, September 24th at Coolidge Corner Theater, and we'll be opening with a wonderful documentary called Comparsa, again about this young women who are resilient, and then we'll be at the MFA with Paquito's film on Friday night, the 26th. We'll be at the Emerson Paramount Theater from the 25th to the 28th. And we also will have another series of free screenings on Saturday as well, Saturday afternoon at the Boston Public Library. For me, it's important to have those free screenings for the community. So we'll be all over the place, but the festival is 5 days from the 24th to the 28th, and we close at Coolidge too.
Well, the important thing for the people who are watching is admission is free for most of them and not all of them. Is that correct?
For a couple of them. For the Zoom screening on the 18th, and the shorts program at Boston Public Library on the 27th in the afternoon.
And the other ones, there's cost of admission, but it's reasonable. But it's another opportunity. Reasonable. It's another opportunity for you to create community. And what I love about the festival is, again, a creative way of using places that become our spaces to celebrate who we are, and places that normally we go to. Zoomix is one, but the Boston Public Library being very much the public library for everybody in Boston. The MFA opening its doors so that everyone feels welcome and be part of what the MFA has to offer, and that it should not just be seen as a very elite museum of art, but more so a resource of all of us being able to enjoy all forms of art. And the film festival is an example of that. So congratulations, Sabrina. Don't go away, Sabrina. Juan Mandelbaum, la música es parte de lo que tú nos traes con la película From Carne y Frijol to Carnegie Hall. Y uno de los temas que más me encanta, que escuché un poco, es este. ya que estamos escuchando mambo influenciado del gran Paquito Rivera y Chucho Valdés, vamos a darle la bienvenida a nuestro querido Pac-Man, el señor distinguidísimo Paquito D'Rivera. Paquito, salud.
Hola, chicos.
Ay, Paquito. Que mucho yo te quiero a ti. Bueno, Paquito, bienvenido. Muchas gracias por estar con nosotros esta tarde en vivo, junto a Sabrina, junto a Juan y este servidor y los que están viendo el programa en Facebook y YouTube.
I'm in great company here.
We're in great company because of you joining us. And as I was saying before, ladies and gentlemen, take a good look at Paquito. You see his new look with the beard. Not only is he looking nice on top, he's looking very nice all around his face and now around his mustache and his beard as well. The new look for the Pac-Man.
He's imitating me.
You hung out so much together. You were together so many months that 5 years. He said, let me start looking like Juan. And then Juan said, well, let me start looking like Paquito. Paquito, bienvenido. Vamos a comenzar. ¿Han hecho una película sobre tu persona en algún momento en el pasado?
Maybe, I don't know. My past is so long now. I don't remember. Yeah, there was a couple of guys. One was Jose Luis Ruperez in Spain. Is a guy from a producer from Madrid who did one study on my life, and he called it the Sax life. Sax with A. The Sax life. Yeah, but I am very happy that my very dear friend Juan Mandelbaum is, he took the interest in doing this film about me.
Well, we're happy that he did. And speaking about your sax life, I also have the book, My Sax Life, which is your book. And then I have the other book, the one that son las cartas. What's the name of that?
Letters to Yayito.
Yes, I've got that one as well. Letters to Yayito. I found that one to be I like that one. I like that one a lot. So thank you for sharing those memories. So Paquito, your story is one, like I was saying, is very much an American story. Una historia, una narrativa that's been repeated over and over again, right? The immigrant who comes to the United States, but comes not under the usual circumstances of let me apply for a visa, then let me come to the United States, study, work, etc., become a citizen. You came to the United States under some trying circumstances because you're an example of the benevolence of this country, right? What has been the history of this country, opening their arms to people who are fleeing oppression, fleeing authoritarianism, fleeing civil unrest and things of that nature, being able to come here and establish their lives in the way that maybe they would not be able to continue to do so in their own country. How does this fit now with what's happening? The fact that, and tell the people who don't know your story, how was that you wound up coming to the United States? Because the first time, by the way, Paquito, let me share this with you before you answer the question. A ver si esto te trae recuerdos. My backstage pass to see Stephen Stills Irakere, Boston College, Thursday, March 22nd, 1979.
Wow, look at that. Still you have that.
Esa fue la primera vez que yo te conocí y vi a Irakere en vivo con Stephen Stills en Boston College en 1979, mi hermano.
That was 1 year before I came for good to this country.
Exactly. So I share that with you as a way of sharing that. 1979 con Irakere te conocí.
Yeah. We were so happy, man, to travel around here, and that tour convinced me that this was the place for me, because it's the place for everyone who want to make a living in a plural, how you say that in English? It's a plural society. Mm-hmm. This is a country of immigrants. Mm-hmm. What can I tell you? I don't think I have enough words in English to explain how silly it is to attack immigrants in a country that was created by immigrants. When especially jazz music. Always I say that the contribution of the Latino people to the main music of this country, which is jazz, have been monumental.
Mhm.
from Tito Puente, Gato Barbieri, Michel Camilo, Dave Valentin. Well, so many of us, the contribution of us, not only to the music and the art, but to the economy of this country.
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
So, Sabrina said before, it's very sad to see how they are defunding, the arts. I'm talking about Jose Luis Ruperez, that cinema man that did my sack life. He is crazy about the French culture.
Mm.
He had a house, an apartment in France, and he said that it's amazing and wonderful to see an entire state supporting the arts in France. So, it's something very, very important. I never thought about that because it looks to me like it's so natural for the French people to support the arts. The
Mhm.
same thing should be here.
The legacy? Mhm. Yeah.
Same thing have to be here because art is not a luxury; it's a necessity. Of course, that coming from an area that sounds a little, too much, but it's the truth, and the truth has to be said. Defunding the art is one of the most stupid movements that any politician can do. You know,
The art, I was just going to say that art, adding to that, art is the reason France and many countries fund art is because they see it as su legado cultural.
Mhm.
Y nosotros no lo vemos de esa manera. Tenemos que convencer los gobiernos que nos den dinero, pero esto es parte de la cultura. This is who we are, It is cultural legacy, and for that reason, we should get support from government.
when passed by, people don't. But, new generation will never remember the name of the president in 1985 or whatever. But they will remember the name of Dizzy Gillespie,
Oh, for sure.
and
Yeah.
Baryshnikov,
Oh, yeah.
and people like that, and Picasso, But they don't want to see that for some reason, You learn that in the schools and in the house, in
Mhm.
their home. You have to teach the people the love to the art. That is the only thing that stays forever.
With that
And
being
the
said,
fact is also
what?
that the funding that we had until now was also so small and
Of
so
course.
limited. National Endowment for the Arts, it's nothing. It's peanuts, and they took away that. I remember, like in the '80s, which is also when I first started listening to Paquito's music. It was funny. I was downstairs watching television. I found this cassette, which is a bootleg version of Paquito's cassette, which I picked up in Indonesia in 1986 in a street market. So that's when I started listening about 40 years ago, Paquito. And I remember in the '80s, the budget for arts in the city of Berlin was more than the National Endowment for the Arts for the whole
Mm,
country.
my
You
God.
know,
Of course.
and now they're just taking. I actually applied to finish this film. I was thinking of applying to the NEA, and they used to give individual grants to filmmakers. They don't do that anymore, and anything now they basically said has to be patriotic for next year's
250th
250th
anniversary.
anniversary. So basically, if you're willing to do just propaganda, they'll maybe, and not individuals anymore, certain organizations with great limitations. So these are really scary times, in that sense.
So
But anyhow, I'd like to get back to film and Paquito's experience also with it. And one thing I want to say is that I really appreciate Paquito so much, how you trusted me to tell your
mm,
story.
mm,
You and Brenda,
mm,
and I will always be grateful for that because you didn't know what I was. That's one thing when you make a film about somebody, they don't really know what you're going to do because they're not going to be in the editing room with you. They don't know if you're going to be truthful, manipulative. What are you going to do with that? And I really appreciate that enormously. Así que muchísimas gracias, Paquito, por tu confianza en lo que
You
yo.
can blame it on Brenda. Brenda saw a couple of your work, and she told me you should go for what Mr. Mandelbaum is planning to do. I think he will do a good job, and she was right.
We're talking about Paquito's wife, Brenda Feliciano, who of course is an artist in her own right and someone who's been very much a cultural agent, a change agent, and history maker and barrier breaker, as many of the folks who are right here in this room are. Juan, you mentioned about trust, and I want to get into the connection between you and Fernando Gonzalez, who you mentioned plays an important role because you give him credit as, being part of the development as far as the story, the narrative, what it was, what the
Mhm.
story would be, that would be true to his story, right? It wasn't Hollywood. What Fernando wrote wasn't Hollywood. It was very much the story of
Mhm.
Paquito Rivera from a child to who he is today. And in that context, for the audience who's watching, who I want you to see these films, another thing that I share with you is the following. In these times of extreme dishonesty and irresponsibility on the part of our so called leaders, it is of particular importance to support and promote the arts that give peaceful, profound voice to sanity, freedom, justice, and brotherhood. May the truth be told. And I share that with you because all three of you are saying exactly that we have to tell the truth. And the
Mhm.
truth can't be manipulated by a narrative that a certain authority wants us to tell. It's got to be the true story. And so the true story that I get from watching Paquito's movie, and I didn't see my sax man, but reading his book and knowing his story, is one of freedom. One where someone wanted to pursue freedom to express himself both as an artist and as a person. I remember one part of the movie, without giving it away, Juan and Paquito, that there was concern in your family that you could have been one of those who would have disappeared in Cuba because of your propensity to voice, to be, to use your voice to say this is not right, this is not right, this is not right. Is that correct?
Exactly. Yes, and that is why it's such an important thing to build ways of communication, to say the truth, what really happened. Nothing to do with the left or the right. What is wrong in the left and the right, and very seldom in the center.
Mm-hmm.
Very seldom,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
because this is not a problem. It's not even a political matter. It's a human situation. You have to say the truth and respect what is the truth.
Mm-hmm.
It's the real justice. Nothing to do with the left or the right, or how to do with both.
You're right. You're right.
Mhm.
So Paquito, he Juan followed you to tell the countries where you went and the places that you filmed, Paquito, just so the audience knows
Yeah,
all the
I
different
mean,
places.
I felt in Uruguay.
Like we went to
In,
Uruguay, no?
in Uruguay a couple of times, actually, three times in Uruguay, because Paquito's a musical director of the Punta del Este International Jazz Festival, and that was great because it was a very relaxed environment. And one of my inspirations was a film that was made on the actor Marcello Mastroianni, a
Mm.
beautiful documentary that is called Mastroianni Mi Ricordo, I remember, and was done by his partner. And she followed him in different places and just filmed them, under a tree, on a boat, whatever. So that's kind of what I sought out to do. So I interviewed him several times in Uruguay, then also at home here in New Jersey. And because we started to get deeper into things too, and there was always something that I still wanted to cover, and so I would do another interview. And I think going back to that trust, in that sense, that Paquito felt more open to tell his stories. And I also, a couple of months ago, Paquito was here in town, and with Brenda, and I showed them the film, because I also wanted to be very open about what I was doing and make sure that they were okay with it. So I'm really thrilled to now bring it to an audience, because there's also quite a lot of fun parts of the film,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
because Paquito's a great storyteller
Oh, for
and
sure.
a great entertainer. And
For
that's
sure.
sort of what drew me to him too. this, what I was telling before, that when I saw him perform in the past, before I even met him, was this sense of joy that he brings to an audience, not only this immense talent as a musician and composer, but just as a human being that wants to transmit and enrich people's souls. And so that's what I was trying to, transmit in the film.
Well, you do a great job. I've had the honor of seeing the film, and you do a great job capturing just that. And Paquito, just so you know, whenever I'm around musicians, I always get the sense that when we were created as human beings, the Supreme Being created special living angels. And by that, what I mean is human beings that amongst us, they will be creative artists that be they singers, dancers, poets, painters, writers, musicians, whatever art form they had. Through that art, they will show us what love really is, because you do so out of the heart. You don't do it because you're thinking I'm going to be popular, famous, and get money. You do it because this is my passion, and I know I'm making you happy. You make me happy by me doing what I'm doing. But also what you do is you bring us peace, love, and happiness to our hearts, and you bring joy and harmony to our lives. And so that's why you as a living angel and what you do is so important. And what Brenda does as well. David Cantrell, who's watching the show, says in 1979, I saw Brenda Feliciano singing with Mario Rivera Salsa Refugees at Union Square Park, Hilton, at the Union Square Park. Hilton Reese was on piano. Brenda Feliciano was singing. And so you and Brenda, you're living angels. You are part of that group of special people that the Lord has put on earth to bring us light when there's darkness, happiness when there's sadness, inspire us when we're sick. You're the ones that help heal us. And so you're very special. And Juan, you did such a great job bringing that out in the film. You brought that out, that joy. The other thing I wanted to say that I was really impressed with, and Paquito, you must have been impressed. I know Brenda was. The footage that you got, the archival footage, that was fantastic. When people see this movie, you're taking us to different places. And I feel like I'm on a journey with Paquito. I feel like I'm part of his touring band, going to these different places, going back in history and going to where he was performing. I felt like I was just one of those. I was a roadie. I was his road manager, just sitting in the.
I was surprised too. All those things that you put there. I said, where did you find that? I was so surprised with all those things. The research you did was such a fantastic thing. So Brenda was right. Yeah. Hazle caso al argentino ese que él sabe lo que está haciendo.
So Juan, let's talk about that piece in particular, because it's not just a film where you said, let me record him and let me film him in one concert and then interview him backstage and set the lights on so it looks nice. This was where you follow him in very, different venues and different places in the United States and outside the United States. But you also did some excellent research in the archives in putting it together in such a way. Like I said, I felt like I was traveling with Paquito to Cuba and to all these other places that you showed. I felt like I was at the airport, when the famous airport scene when he leaves the saxophone and he goes running for
it. What's funny? Some of these archival sources came from a box of tapes that Paquito had, but they hadn't been digitized. So Paquito didn't even know what is in there.
So what did you find out?
You gave me that box and I digitized it. And so this footage, from like the Iraquere program, which is all this really fuzzy from Cuba, from like, the 70s. And also the interview with Regis Philbin, where, when Paquito's son came finally to the United States, that was in these tapes that I was just like, I digitized them. I'm like, oh, wow, look at this and look at this. And then, of course, there's other sources. There was a black and white concert from 1979, the one that you saw, Jose, that was also, but it was also very fuzzy. And there's this incredible piece that Paquito, where he plays this amazing transformation of Mozart's clarinet concerto, the second movement. That of course, I love Mozart and I love that clarinet concerto, and I love the way Paquito reinterprets it. And actually, at the end of the film, there's a surprise about that too.
I know. I love that. I love that.
But one of the things that we did and that you can do now is we actually processed that footage with an AI app, which made it look, 100 times better than this really fuzzy old black and white, tape. So I also want to say, when you make a film, you make it with a team.
Mhm.
And over 5 years, I worked with a number of editors. And here at the end, also, I had a fabulous sound mixer, Greg McCleary, who's here in Boston, who's immensely talented, a local colorist too. And so these are the people who make you look good,
Mhm.
as a filmmaker. You
Mhm.
need good editors. Of course, you want them to interpret what you're trying to do, but you also want them to surprise you, you
Yeah, of
know?
course. Of course.
Doing things that, I didn't think about this. That's great. So it was really a complicated and long process to actually sort of uh, make the film and finish it.
I
Well,
have to see the film again, man. Now I am intrigued.
And I wish Paquito would come for the premiere, but of course he's going to be on the road.
he's going to be touring. Paquito's going to be
All
touring
the time on the road.
For a change.
for a
We're going to
change.
miss you,
One,
Paquito.
one, one of the things, and I won't go deep into this, that I really enjoyed is showing another part of you, Paquito, which was your fascination with classic cars, of which
Oh,
you had two beautiful cars, the nice so like it
three.
wasn't oh yeah, three. I saw two, but they were beautiful. They were, I love the pic you in the garage. All those things were just showing another part of you that I think when people see the film, it opens up again another dimension of who you are as a person, what your interests are, what your love is for different things. Why? Because there's a connection between you and your father, who's so instrumental in who you are as a person, who you are as a musician. But I love that you included that and that you were able to get that footage, Juan, in those
Yeah.
places where you got that footage. That makes it just like, again, I feel like when I watched the film, I said, you have welcomed me in, and I'm standing right there in every single foot that you are showing us. I'm at the concert, I'm in Paraguay, I'm at the White House, I'm at the Wolf Trap, I'm in the garage, I'm everywhere, because the way you do the film, you invite us to be in it, not watching it as observers. I feel like I'm a participant in
Yeah.
Paquito's story, like I'm right next to him telling the story.
And of course, I was immensely lucky because if you wait for 5 years, with Paquito, things will happen, And one of the things that happened was like this beautiful concert that he wrote for, Yo-Yo Ma, which we were very lucky to record the premiere of that too, the world premiere of that concert of The Journey. And also his reunion with Chucho.
Mhm.
And the fact that we were able to, film them together, interview them together, and then, this incredible concert in Miami of the, reunion sextet. So luck plays a part, especially when you don't have a deadline. When you make a film on your own, it's very different than it's commissioned,
Right, when they tell you
If
you
it's a
got to do it.
commissioned film, it's like you have to finish by a certain date, and
Yeah.
whatever it is, that's what it's going to be. In this case, we were able to keep adding wonderful things that kept happening, and I think that's made a huge difference for this film. So, and also because I wanted to show how, a lot of artists, like, they find one thing and then they stick to one thing for like forever. They
Mhm.
just make reversions of that. And with Paquito, there's one thing that I wanted to explore and that I asked Yo-Yo also about, and that I always identified his sound.
Mhm.
And how do you, as a musician, how do you create your own sound?
Mhm.
But then, because he always kept reinventing himself and he doesn't repeat himself,
Mhm.
no? And that's something that I also admired and wanted to show. I mean, if you hear what he does in The Journey, it's like, wow. And this is the same guy who was playing with Dizzy Gillespie and who was, doing Mozart, and he was doing, the Cuban themes from his youth with Chucho. And yeah, it's the same person, but it's so rich, his creativity.
Paquito, something interesting what Juan just said. As I was watching, one of the things that I enjoyed was what you were wearing in every scene. La ropa que tú tenías en cada
Oh, yeah.
escenario. what you were wearing, because what you were wearing sort of like it's sort of like mirrored what Juan was just saying, that you weren't wearing a particular style of suit that you would wear in every gig and every style. It was like every time you had something different on, it also showed that you had 360 degrees of music. It could be classical, it could be folk, it could be, some heavy funk, it could be straight out jazz, it could be bebop, it could be Latin, it could be, you did all these types of things. And I said, it's like when he puts on a different outfit, it's like he's playing a different persona. This is who I'm playing today. And then when I put this on, this is who I'm playing now. And this, so I don't know.
Those are disguises to confuse people.
Well, you did a good job of confusing me, because you took me everywhere. But I think what I'm trying to say is that I wouldn't classify you as being a jazz artist or being a Latin artist. I would classify you as being an exceptional musician who is very talented in playing music. And the music that you play has no label. It just so happens that you're able to play all types of music. When I'm hearing something like this in the background, listen to this. I love that.
That's the new one.
I love that. That is, again, it's an example of what?
Sabrina will know this one. Because Sabrina
Un
like
poco
that.
flamenco.
Flamenco is that. Yeah.
Te escuché el cajón.
Eso original, the original name is Vals Venezolano, but all those Cuban musicians and the Colombian mallet player, they live in Madrid and they are exposed to the flamenco scene there. So they start playing the so please put that flamenco thing there. It's a flamenco Venezuelan piece now.
I love it. I love it. No, but again, that's an example of what I was saying earlier, that you are 360 degrees of music. It's like whatever the sound is, and there's another piece in the movie, and I appreciated Juan and Paquito, you included, where you're at the New England Conservatory and you're playing with this young person who's playing guitar. I thought that was one of the most beautiful scenes there, because she was like, and then there was a young man also who was playing. Both were students, young students, but the respect, Paquito, you gave both of those young people was incredible. In my mind, it wasn't paternalistic. It wasn't like, I got to do this. It was much more like you were really intrigued by what they were doing and how they were performing and how they were playing the chart or not playing the chart, how they interpret it. And then when you showed them on stage, it was just like they must still be in heaven someplace saying, I played with Paquito D'Rivera. But that scene to me, again, shows another part, the educator, the mentor, the champion of young people to continue this legacy of great music. So I love the movie that you included that.
My father was a great teacher, and he used to say all the time, he said, when you teach, you learn more from your students than what your student learned from you. Because the students start making questions that you don't know the complete answer sometimes, but you have to find the answer. You have to find the answer because they ask you something and then, well, say that again. And then, now let's play that. Well, at the end, between you and the student, you find the truth. happen constantly. And if you don't find the truth there, you go to some other place. My father was a great teacher mainly because when he didn't know something, he knew where to go to find the right answer. There is a mistake among some certain teachers that they used to say, what I don't teach you, you don't need it. You don't do that to a student. And I have heard that so many times. What I don't teach you, I will take you to some place that you can find the truth there. I learned that from my father, and it has been very useful for me. I learned a lot from many people.
No, you can
Without
tell.
paying 1 cent.
You can tell that scene that you that I speak of, Juan. I appreciated you including that because that shows another facet, it's another touch of, okay, this is who he is. He's also the educator. He's also the student, right? By saying what you're saying, you're always the student. You're always learning. You're always trying to learn. Mario Villalobos says, Paquito D'Rivera, master musician, music legend. That's a good way to describe him. Yes.
That is a very elegant way. It's a very elegant way to call you old guy. It's a legend. I mean, you're old, But thank you, Mario.
I want to bring something else also, because that piece that we did at the New England Conservatory, which was From the Top music program, which highlights basically teenage students, and that was February 2020. That was right before
COVID.
Everything shut down.
Before COVID.
But then also Paquito, he didn't stay still during COVID. When everybody was like, encerrados en su casa, he started this thing, the Pac-Man's Corner.
Yes,
and
I remember.
Started putting out all of these, videos that, archival footage, interviews, playing with people in other places. We
have to give some credit to Juanito Ruiz, the Colombian, the wonderful my Colombian assistant. He's such an enthusiastic guy, and we have the Pac-Man's Corner. Him and his former wife, Diana, which is down in Italy, put together the Pac-Man. We have a whole collection of Pac-Man corners every Wednesday.
Well, and I thought about going into that too, but that would, again, you have to choose some things, because I did have material, and we did talk about that too, about how he transited the pandemic. But I also sort of, in a sense, I wanted to make it less tied to that period, and just leave it open to his whole career, even though I really loved what he did with the Pac-Man's Corner.
Well, I think that what the COVID did for all of us is that we had to reinvent ourselves. You used that word earlier, Juan, and we also had to learn new things, right? I mean, I didn't know how to do what I'm doing right now, and the Paquito did what he used, and his friend helped him navigate that world of media to do that. But I think the important part of that is that, like Paquito says, it's now archived. It's part of our history, and no matter what is happening as far as the current administration and trying to whitewash our history, trying to erase us from museums and galleries and movies and things of that nature. We individually, I've got 5,000 albums back there. I've got 5,000 CDs. I've probably got 1,000 books, and I've got whatever, same way you all do. We are the curators of and the archivists of all of our history. And so people will be able to see that history. In the future, they will be able to make reference to Paquito's Corner. They'll be able to make reference to this movie. They'll be able to make reference to the movies that CineFest Latino shows. They'll be able to make reference to my radio show, as this was very much part of history. Don't think it was only what you see being painted in the books or whatever it is that they want us to put. You've got a saludos desde Toms River, New Jersey, Juan Eduardo Nelson Peinado. No va, envía saludos. Tom River, New Jersey. Bueno, saludos, Juan Eduardo Nelson. So we have a few minutes left because I know you've given me an hour. So we're going to see the movie. It's going to be the first time. Now, has it been shown anywhere else, Juan?
Nope.
Nowhere.
It's the world premiere.
World premiere is going to be Boston?
Yep.
Yes.
Oh my God, I'm looking forward to it. And that evening,
Boston is a travel for music and arts in general. It's an important city. I love that city there.
And we love you as much.
World premiere at a world class theater. So
at the MFA, and we're going to have a little conversation that evening, correct? Between Juan and you.
Absolutely.
And me. We'll have a conversation. So we're going to invite everybody to join us for the CineFest Latino Festival that's taking place during the month of September. The dates start off once again, Sabrina.
24th to the 28th. Tickets are on sale now. You can go to cinefestlatino.com to purchase your tickets.
There you go. And Paquito's film will be at the MFA on that Friday, which is the 26th. The 26th. What time are we?
7 p.m.
7 p.m. And it's
Brenda
going
will be there.
Sorry?
Brenda and Juanito will be there.
Oh, great.
Brenda too?
Oh, thank you.
I will be very far away. I will be, in some place. Sometimes I don't remember where I am. I remember when I started speaking in English in Spain. I was like, I am so happy to be here. I am very tired, but at least I know how to speak in English. As I was in Spain. Claudio told me, yeah, man, but you are speaking English for the first time in your life, like Margaret Thatcher. Perfect,
Hostias, pero este tío no sabe que está aquí en Madrid y está hablando en inglés.
Lo que llega me miraba como un perrito cuando tú le enseñas un choricito que hace así.
Bueno, Paquito, te queremos mucho. Arturo Sandoval estuvo aquí el viernes y el sábado, te manda saludos. También me dijo lo mucho que gozó de estar contigo y con Chucho, con Iraquere y con todo lo demás, la grabación que hicieron. Este muchachito vizcaíno es tremendo.
Ese es tremendo. Yo lo llamo cada rato, papá. Once in a while, when he's free, because he's very busy. Sí. We are going to be in the same boat in January, in the jazz cruise. He's going to be with Chucho's group. I will be with my own group. But I want to steal him once in a while when he's going to play with Chucho.
He is great. Roberto Jr. Vizcaíno. Tremendo percusionista. He amazed me. I was like blown away. Blown away. So anyway, Paquito, te queremos. Bendiciones, muchachos, para ti. Brenda, te queremos a ti también. Espero verte el día 26 aquí en la ciudad de Boston. Te vamos a dar el abrazo de hermandad y bienvenida aquí en nuestra ciudad para gozar de la película titulada Carne y Frijol to Carnegie Hall. How did we get that title? Carne y Frijol to Carnegie Hall.
Well, it actually came from Paquito, you can tell the story, but the title of the film is actually Paquito D'Rivera, from Carne y Frijol to Carnegie Hall.
There you go.
Well, when I was a kid, my father played for me an LP of Benny Goodman recorded at Carnegie Hall, and he's played to me. I said, what is that? I was impressed by the music and all that, live recording. My father said, that is Benny Goodman. It's an American clarinet player. That is the city of New York, and that is in Carnegie Hall. When he said Carnegie Hall, I understood Carne y Frijol. And then what does the food that my mother cooked with that music? And then he explained to me that was Carnegie Hall. And the other thing, I am obsessed with rice and beans. I love that. The real name of that piece that I wrote for Yo-Yo Ma is not the journey. It's the rice and beans concerto. Mm-hmm. Because I told Yo-Yo once, one day I'm going to write a piece for you and me. It's called The Rice, that is what you Chinese eat, and the beans that we Latino eat. So that is the name of the piece.
The Rice and Beans Concerto, otherwise known as The Journey. And Paquito D'Rivera, from Carne y Frijol to Carnegie Hall. No se confunda, Carne y Frijol no es Carnegie Hall.
No. Big difference.
Bueno, gracias, Paquito, que sigue disfrutando del día y éxito siempre. Y cuando esté en la ciudad de Boston, espero tener la buena dicha de estar en tu compañía de nuevo para darte el abrazo en el mandado y siempre, ¿ok?
See you soon.
See you soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Paquito Rivera, our special guest today on this Facebook Live as we discuss the film Paquito Rivera from Carne y Frijol to Carnegie Hall. It will
All
be
right.
have its premiere this coming it'll have its premiere this coming 26th of September at the MFA. Sabrina, we love you. And so for everybody who's watching, Sabrina is part of the 50 years of Con Salsa because she has been part of the team when she was at Boston University. Of course, she worked also with Juan Mandelbaum. And so we're in family, all three of us right here. All three are connected in so many ways during the past 50 years. And it's such a blessing to have both of you on my show. I have more music to share for the next 30 minutes or so, but I wanted both of you to at least have a minute before we wrap up because I want to make sure that people understand the importance of this film in the festival. Juan.
Well, thank you very much for this opportunity and for, hosting us and with Paquito too. And, when you make a film, and I've made other films about artists too, you want to convey how people are able to create, art that really transcends language, transcends frontiers, and just reaches your soul. So
Love it.
that's what I was trying to do with this film.
Well, you've done it, and I thank you for that. Sabrina, I love
Thank
you.
you.
I'm going to see you in September when we're over there at the
Yeah, the
MFA.
26th.
And good luck to everybody, all right?
Yeah.
Mucha
Thank you so
felicidad.
much for having us.
No, gracias
Nos
a ti.
Gracias.
vemos.
Nos vemos
Muchas
entonces. Chao.
gracias.
No
Chao,
de qué.
chao.
Cuídate.
Ciao.
Bye. The bottom line is that we believe strongly in love. Music is a powerful tool in defense of this noble concept, but it is only one of many creative ways in which human beings seek and share love, communication, and joy. It is the responsibility of every one of us to lift each other up every day through whatever moves us and teach the ways of nature, spirit, and science for the sake of our planet and our race, the human race. Through the wisdom of the elders and the vision and energy of the young, we can do this. Slavery, genocide, and apartheid practices have never been and never will be appropriate. We believe in peace and the opportunity to pursue joy for every human being, above the dogma and hypocrisy of any religion and or government that seeks to divide us. We hope our music brings you peace and joy. John Santos, Vieja Escuela.
Las caras lindas de mi gente negra son un desfile de melas en flor, que cuando pasa frente a mí, de su negrura todo el corazón. Las caras lindas de mi raza prieta tienen de llanto, de pena y dolor. Son las verdades que la vida reta, pero que llevan dentro mucho amor. Somos la melaza que ríe, la melaza que llora. Somos la melaza que ama, y en cada beso que conmovedora. Por eso vivo orgulloso de su colorido. Somos betún amable de clara poesía. Tienen su ritmo, tienen melodía. Las caras lindas de mi gente negra.
When you had the time, I had the joke that you were from Jay Messina, the engineer, that has files of them. My teacher. So give me a call, give my love to Divina, and I love you both very, very much. You're very, very special to me, Jose. I'm very proud about everything you've done, man, and how you've done it. And the reputation you have is gratifying to me, coming from how they love you in Boston. I call you Mr. Boston, and, and and I mean that from my heart. You know, there's no kidding around with you. You know, you're serious in the business. They all love you, and heavy people love you, man. So may God always protect you and divina. And como me enseñó Nino Fría, el pianista de la Sonora Matancera, José Mazó y divina viven en mi corazón y no pagan renta. Chao.
Isla linda y bonita, con sus aguas benditas, yo le canto a la isla de mi encanto. Isla linda y preciosa, sobre todas las cosas, yo mantengo en mi mente tu memoria. Puerto Rico. La bulla boricua. Isla de gran riqueza, de cariño y belleza, de palmeras y playas sin iguales. Isla tierna y pura y de gran hermosura, verdes valles y pueblos hechiceros. Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico, islita donde nací, porque tú eres mi encanto, como te quiero yo a ti, mi borinque. Isla linda, y preciosa, fabulosa, maravillosa. Aunque me encuentre muy lejos, yo no me olvido de ti, porque tú eres mi encanto, como te extraño yo a ti. Puerto Rico, isla linda, preciosa, fabulosa, maravillosa. Recoge que nos vamos, Boricua. ¡Que viva Puerto Rico! A ti te canto morinque, porque tú eres para mí. Sobre toditas las cosas, te canto yo desde aquí, Puerto Rico.
Linda y preciosa, fabulosa, maravillosa.
¡Que viva Puerto Rico! ¡Que viva!
Aplaudo al sobreviviente que resistió a lo peor y con trabajo y amor se adaptó a su nuevo ambiente. Los que somos emigrantes compartimos el sudor del que construye caminos para forjar un destino en busca de algo mejor. Nadie emigra de su patria porque quiere. El que sale lo hace por necesidad. Obligado cuando la justicia muere por la corrupción, el odio y la maldad. No es relajo irse a vivir al extranjero. Quien no llega preparado fracasará. Al alma de un barrio no la inventó el dinero. Nació de la fe, el esfuerzo y la voluntad. Nuestra lucha es cruel y es mucha, y hay que hacerla con valor. Contra el dolor de la ausencia, sostenemos la presencia con puro amor y control. Dedico esta canción a los que tratan de crear rumbos que nos niegan la maldad. La victoria nunca nos saldrá barata, pero solo aquel que trata mantendrá su dignidad.
Yo no me fui porque sí, la situación me obligó.
Ripari Cortés.
Yo no me fui porque sí, la situación situación me obligó.
Cuando muere la razón entre tanta corrupción,
Yo no me fui porque sí, la situación me obligó.
atrás quedó mi familia. Todo lo que un día me inspiró.
Yo no me fui porque sí, la situación me obligó.
No es fácil dejar la tierra, el sitio en que uno nació.
Yo no me fui porque sí,
Que va
la situación me obligó.
sin papeles ni dinero, se fueron a luchar al
Yo no me
extranjero.
fui porque sí, la situación me obligó.
Por el kilómetro 100, mi destino es el norte, a pie cruzando el Darién. Plantación adentro, camarada.
Yo no me fui porque sí, la situación me obligó.
El dolor del emigrante es difícil de explicar.
Yo no me fui porque sí, la situación me obligó.
Porque la mitad del alma se va contigo y la otra mitad se queda atrás.
Nos vamos a hacer sentir porque somos seres humanos y ningún ser humano es ilegal.
Ningún ser humano debiera ser ilegal. Dime cuál es el delito. Nacer, respirar. No necesito licencia para caminar, ni un pasaporte para abrir los ojos y mirar. Debiera ser ilegal la falta de educación. Ilegal debiera ser forjarte una religión. Ilegal hacer la guerra. Ilegal una invasión. Ilegal la pobreza. Ilegal la explotación. Las divisiones de clase, acoso en orientación. Ilegal sería el machismo de cualquier institución. Ilegal robar recursos para vender a población. Ilegal sacar riqueza de todos los yacimientos. Ilegal la jerarquía. Ilegal el aislamiento de los niños sin sus padres en todos esos campamentos. Ilegal debiera ser la apropiación cultural. Ilegal el racismo, el colorismo racial. Ilegal debería ser traficar seres humanos por no poseer papeles de tierras que han saqueado, porque la naturaleza no crea indocumentados, ni la flora ni la fauna, menos los seres humanos. Ningún ser humano debiera ser ilegal. Dime cuál es el delito. Nacer, respirar. No necesito licencia para caminar, ni un pasaporte para abrir los ojos y mirar. Vamos a dejar claro, que ser inmigrante no es lo mismo que ser un criminal. Nunca jamás.
Ilegal debe ser matar niños palestinos. Ilegal las torturas, las bombas, los asesinos. Ilegal debe ser vender las playas que camino. Puerto Rico es mi casa, tu parada es mi destino. Ilegal debe ser la hambruna en Sudán, mientras blancos billonarios brindan coco pa' champán y se dividen las tierras, mientras que los colsantes vende que para ser libre hay que bombardear Irán, matar en Pakistán, de conquistar otras razas, de guerras necesarias con que no pasen en casa. Ilegal debe ser hacerse el ciego desde lejos y tomarse fotos para la pauta con un pendejo. Ilegal debe ser un padre abusador. Ilegal debe ser un presidente violador, que te juzguen y te maten solo por tu color. Menos odio y dolor, más humano, más amor.
Ningún ser humano debiera ser ilegal. Dime cuál es el delito. Nacer, respirar. No necesito licencia para caminar, ni un pasaporte para abrir los ojos y mirar.
Sin la U no hay PR y sin PR no hay presión.
Y sin Domi no hay Santurce que cocinen con sazón.
Por eso respetamos la tierra y la agricultura.
Respetamos las banderas, respetamos las culturas. No queremos más fronteras, no queremos división.
Queremos educación, más gente de corazón.
El odio y el racismo no vamos a globalizar.
Pues ningún ser humano debiera ser ilegal.
La amenaza y el miedo imperan en Estados Unidos. Muchos migrantes que vivían en paz y sustentaban la economía de ese país son ahora apresados y forzados a salir, solo con lo que el sueño americano convertido en una pesadilla para millones de inmigrantes ilegales en Estados Unidos.
Yo no soy ningún delincuente y yo he tenido mis papeles.
Me duele porque hay mucha gente que se levanta en madrugada a trabajar y cogerle todo por sorpresa, buscarlo de la misma casa, duele demasiado.
Estos operativos de ICE han tenido un efecto y ese efecto es la desolación en barrios enteros.
Today I'm also signing an executive order to instruct the Departments of Defense and Homeland Security to begin preparing the 30,000 person migrant facility at Guantanamo Bay. Most people don't even know about it. We have 30,000 beds in Guantanamo to detain the worst criminal illegal aliens threatening the American people. Some of them are so bad we don't even trust the countries to hold them.
Desde el principio de la historia de la humanidad, en este planeta, entre buenos y malos, hemos vivido y seguimos viviendo entre guerras, avaricia, injusticia y desigualdad. Y qué pena me da, qué pena me da. Si te digo que vivimos en un mundo que depende de lo que tengas, así vale, donde todo se resuelve con dinero y no importa el corrupto que lo pague. Es el mundo de las mil y un fantasías, donde te cambian los sueños por espejos. Siempre tienes que andar con mucho cuidado, no vaya a ser de que pierdas tu reflejo. Y tú lo sabías, 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 tú lo sabías que hoy te venden la propuesta de la guerra como una novela de televisión. Te la ponen bien bonita en la pantalla para que todos le demos la razón. Lo que ellos no terminan de explicarme y lo que yo no puedo entender es por qué los que se inventan esa guerra matan a otros que nada tienen que ver. Y tú lo sabías, 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 tú lo sabías. Escucha bien, escucha. Y como yo también soy inmigrante, y si pensaste que lo iba a dejar por fuera, ahora voy a decir 4 verdades. Y no me importa que le duela a quien le duela. Hay muchos por ahí que se les olvidó que vinieron también buscando trabajo y ahora que están bien establecidos quieren mantener a sus hermanos debajo el zapato. Y lo sabías, tú 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 lo sabías. Pena me da con la humanidad que nunca llegamos a nada, no sé por qué será. Parece que vivimos en un trance, no queremos cambiar, seguimos viviendo en un mundo que no tiene rumbo, que es artificial. Hagamos conciencia, vamos para adelante y si nos unimos seremos la diferencia al final. Y vamos a enseñarle a los niños, a los muchachos que los problemas jamás y nunca en la vida se resuelven con la guerra. Hice más de 1000 promesas, recé tanta oración. Debe ser que rezo bajo, que mi Dios no me escuchó. No me escuchó. Ay, de la triste realidad. Que vivimos en un mundo materialista y tú lo sabes. Cuánto tú tienes sé que lo podemos lograr. No te hagas el loco, deja la indiferencia, compadre. Yo sé que todos unidos el sueño podremos lograr. Un planeta mejor para todos, para nuestros hijos.
Mi gente, mi lucha, tu lucha. Our struggle for justice is not just for us. It's for our children's children so they can have a better world. A better world of peace, love, and happiness for all. Together, we can. Mi pueblo latino, en la unión está la fuerza. Sí se puede y no tenemos miedo.
¿Qué es lo que está pasando con la gente de este mundo? Que quieren vivir en guerra y no arreglar los asuntos. Con tanta cordialidad, todo anda perdido. No quieren ya dialogar, es un asunto sin sentido. Por Dios que reine la paz, por el bien de nuestros hijos. Y que se haga la luz que alumbre nuestros caminos.
¿Dónde está la cordialidad de este mundo? Que quieren vivir en guerra y no arreglar los asuntos.
¿Para qué vivir en guerras si eso no remedia nada? Tratémonos como hermanos, mi hermano, para que reine la paz.
¿Dónde está la cordialidad de este mundo? Que quieren vivir en guerra y no arreglar los asuntos.
Estrechémonos las manos, hablemos más del amor. Oremos por nuestros pueblos y el mundo, para que convivamos mejor. Que haya un mundo lleno de paz, alegría, por el bien de nuestros hijos y de toda nuestra familia. Gozando.
¿Dónde está la cordialidad de este mundo? Que quieren vivir en guerra y no arreglar los asuntos.
Los niños del mundo, mira qué bonitos son. Brindémosles vida positiva y bonita para un futuro mejor.
¿Dónde está la cordialidad de este mundo?
¿Dónde está?
Que quieren vivir en guerra y no arreglar los asuntos.
Seamos más positivos por el bien de la humanidad. Porque un pueblo que permanece unido, nada ni nadie lo destrozará. Positivo siempre. Y nunca mirando hacia atrás. ¿Qué va?
Que se acabe la guerra.
Que pare la guerra y que reine la paz.
Que haya paz en la tierra.
Luchemos contra el hambre, la miseria
Si tu trabajo es oprimir a los de tu propia clase, me das pena, compañero. Abre los ojos primero, que esas cosas no se hacen. Si tu trabajo es engañar a quien pone su confianza en un líder pasajero, abre los ojos primero, que el karma algún día te alcanza. Para hacer daño a mi hermano, no hay empleo que me obligue. Todo acto lisonjero en la tierra es pagadero, pues la vida así lo exige. Solo tienes que buscar, la historia claro lo dice, que hay un Dios allá en el cielo que mantiene en su tintero el crimen que cometiste. Si tu trabajo es castigar a un pueblo que vive en hambre, piensa en tus hijos primero, que mañana en otro pueblo le sacan cuenta en la calle. Y si no lo pagas tú, mañana paga tu casa. Que aunque no lo cometieron, tu maldición llega a ellos, pues viven de tu bonanza. Y es que esto es regla de vida, el que la hace la paga. Vivirás con el recelo de andar mirando para el suelo, pues hay cuentas no saldadas.
Todo abusador que se alcanza.
Perfume de pueblo.
Cuando el pueblo se levanta.
Enrique.
Todo abusador que se alcanza.
Fragancia de barrio.
Cuando el pueblo se levanta.
Sopla, Josué.
Todo abusador que se alcanza. Cuando el pueblo se levanta. Todo abusador que se alcanza. Cuando el pueblo se levanta. Todo abusador que se alcanza. Cuando el pueblo se levanta.
El pueblo que es el implacable, que es el invencible, cuando unido no se achanta.
Todo abusador que se alcanza. Cuando el pueblo se levanta.
Pueblo, ya no tengas miedo, si con tu voz los abusos se aplastan. Edwin Hook. Agua. Tropas.
Todo abusador que se alcanza. Cuando el pueblo se levanta.
Y para evitar las guerras hay que levantar la voz a tiempo, con valentía y templanza.
Abusador que se alcanza. Cuando el pueblo se levanta.
Primero vinieron por ellos y hasta que vengan por ti, no le verás la importancia. ¡Ué! ¿Cómo?
nuestros barrios nunca toman prisioneros, quiebran al que no resiste, sea local o sea extranjero. Ay, la paciencia no existe con los que son majaderos. Cada víctima es culpable si cayó por traicionero. ¿Qué pasó con esos guapos que alardeaban con su vida? Terminaron deshonrando el honor de nuestra esquina. Ni siquiera el sobrenombre sobrevive en la avenida. Le quitaron los colmillos, el collar y la lentina. Son páginas esas calles que se encogen con los años, escritas en un idioma que no entienden los extraños. Los hijos de muchas madres, pero aquí solo hay hermanos en mi calle. La vida y la muerte bailan con la cerveza en la mano. Soy de allí, de los que sobrevivieron. Soy de allí. Ajá, pa'l barrio La Gándara, en Ponce. Soy de allí, de los que sobrevivieron. Donde el sonido de la angustia se esconde en un guaguanco callejero. Soy de allí, de los que sobrevivieron. Donde se cuentan historias para preservar las memorias de los que están en el cielo. Soy de allí, de los que sobrevivieron. En mi calle la vida y la muerte bailan al compás de los discos de Maelo. Ahí nada más. De los que sobrevivieron. Esa calle que fue mi escuela pasó mi padre y también mi abuelo. Soy de allí, de los que sobrevivieron. Donde existe la habilidad de entender con claridad que la dignidad no se compra con dinero. Soy de allí, de los que sobrevivieron. Madre soltera, timbre de escuela, sueños forjados con hambre, con miedo. Yo soy de la calle, yo soy de allí. No se toman prisioneros y con los que son majaderos la paciencia no existe ahí. Yo también soy de allí, yo soy de la calle. Yo soy de allí, yo soy de allí. Tú sabes que sí, entre el dolor y el frenesí van cantando los rumberos. Yo soy de allí, yo soy de la flores de mí.
Está bien bonito eso. Está desafinado es lo que está. Ey, ese perro vale comida, Virgen, dame ayer. Ay, protégeme.
And with the sounds of Ruben Blades, we conclude the program for today. I'm coming to you from what I now call the Eddie Palmieri studio in our home here in Boston. Divina and I, of course, have 50 years of memory with El Maestro, who passed away on August 6th, the day after my birthday, at the age of 88 years young. May he rest in peace, love, and power. He always made us laugh, but of course his music has been an inspiration for this show. You heard during this hour the new version of Puerto Rico recorded live as part of the movie Highest to Low with Denzel Washington, produced by Spike Lee, the late great Eddie Palmieri. And I want to say some greetings to a few folks who tuned in. We have here David Calvo. Hope to see you next weekend, David. And Mari and her daughter, Christina, tuning in. She says, hola, saludos desde Staunton, Mass. Yeah, Juntas Ponce, always my favorite podcast, and will always represent Manny Mercado from Brooklyn, my best friend, business partner, amazing brother, Barbara from Venezuela. God rest his soul. Damari and Christina. Her daughter, Christina, is now 11 years old, just started middle school. And of course, we pray for you and Christina. Why not? Of course, we pray for you and all those good young people that are going to be the future. So prayers for you and prayers for Christina. Jose Madera, my dear friend, Tocayo and Ken. Gozando la entrevista con Paquito. Nos veremos pronto. Te queremos mucho, Jose y Ken. Saludos, parte mía, de parte divina. Reminding you that next weekend we will start 4 days of celebration for the 50th anniversary of Con Salsa. Septiembre, aquí estamos con Salsa 50 Celebration Weekend, Latino Heritage Month kickoff, un solo ritmo, una sola comunidad, one rhythm, one community. Thursday, Salsa al atardecer, Salsa at sunset, at Inquilinos Boricuas en Acción, Villa Victoria, Plaza Betances. Friday, East Boston Land Music and Dance Festival, and that's brought to you by Zumix and Veronica Robles Cultural Center, Senator Lydia Edwards in the city of Boston. Saturday will be the Embrace My Soul con Salsa International Music Festival, featuring music, dance, food, kiosks, information, solidarity. We'll have Jonathan Suazo. We will have Anja Monet, the spoken word artist. We will have Spanish Harlem Orchestra, Salsa Control, Meta Movements, and also Bomba Antillano, amongst others. And then Sunday, Cambridge Salsa in the Park with Meta Movements. So I look forward to seeing you next weekend, God willing. And God bless each and every one of you. As always, today's program was a D&J production. D meaning Divina, who's upstairs, and J meaning yours truly, Jose Maso. Until the next time, I love you. God bless you. Peace, blessings to each and every single one of you. And please be careful, all of you, wherever you might be. Take care of each other, okay? Until next one, we love you. Take care. God bless.